ain't need like that one. Let me say. Hey. Cause I've been trying to be practical. Let me take a sabbatical. Apparently what I'm saying too radical. And y'all can't stomach me, cause there he go by my team. I said what I said, nigga. I will not be quarantined. I might melt my golden wings on pursuit. Man, listen, when I'm gonna release that song, y'all just can't wait. Listen, I talk about y'all in that song. I talk about Albany in that song. I'll talk about y'all. Anyways, it's good. It's good. There's some critiques that might make some people upset. Anyway, I love you all. So let's jump right into it, y'all. Vonte left some excellent questions on a post of mine, and it amounts to a very thick interview. I'm going to post the pictures up here. Hold on. Hey, Matt and Claire, we finna get in there. Hold on. All right, so y'all can't see it as well, but so I'm just actually going to just move this to the side like this. If y'all want to see the post, it's on my page, October 3rd. Scroll down. It starts with, today I completed orders for several businesses across the region. His post is down here and it's thick. So let's start from the top. He's asking a lot of questions. There's a lot of context. And so this right here, to preface this whole discussion, is going to be very solutions-based and solutions-oriented, which is discussions that I feel we don't have near enough. And these questions are very well written. The first question, in fact, I'll read the whole thing, but slowly, one at a time, because he's talking about different topics: the economy, healthcare, the walkability of the city, crime, taxpaying citizens being rewarded or incentivized in this whole system, and legacy systems that need to be patched up and replaced. So at the top, we're going to start with economic growth. And I got my pen and pad here so I can stay on task, and I hope y'all follow along too. Please join in the discussion with questions or comments or even solutions that y'all might have for this whole discussion. So at the top, Vonte says, if not gentrification, how do you spur economic growth in an otherwise dying city with little to no industry outside of healthcare? What makes Albany attractive to other industries such as tech so that existing residents have increased opportunities to make more money? That's the first chunk. There's a couple questions in there. So first off, in fact, before we even get into the questions, we gotta do a little work. Let's do a little unpacking first. We got to tackle psychology. Like I say often, we're very well versed here in Albany in discussing the negative aspects and in speaking generally negatively about Albany. The critiques rarely come from a place of upliftment and encouragement and hopefulness and positivity. It often comes from a place of despair, for lack of a better word. And so there is much other industry here. We got, as we know, P&G. We got Mars. We got Georgia Pacific out there. We got Terra Foods. We had, of course, don't talk about what we had. We have, what else do we have here? We got the base. We have, there's other industry here. And then, of course, we have medium-sized businesses to consider that we can grow. So your first question, how do you spur economic growth? That's the main root of that question. How do you spur economic growth? The context around it, and I understand too the context. I'm not gonna forget that when I'm answering. How do you? But I don't want to get lost in the syntax. I want to make sure I'm answering your questions as clearly and directly as possible. And so, like I started with in my last live, when we talk about economic growth for the city, oftentimes it's talked about in a way that we have to attract outside industry. We have to bring in people from outside to invest in here because we can't do it ourselves. And I push back against that narrative with the fact that we have again, like I said in the other live, a $319 million budget for the city alone. The county has a whole nother budget. The school board has a whole nother budget. But the city has a $319 million budget and often gets money in other forms from the federal government, the state government, and other grants that the city applies for. So there's hundreds of millions of dollars at the city's disposal. What we are experiencing here is a very strong lack of care when it comes to making sure these funds are spent wisely. People are spending this money recklessly. And like I said, also too in the last live, Henry Mathis, when he was running for mayor, said we needed to do a forensic audit of all the departments of the city to clean up the waste. That is extremely important to do. Once we do that and we regain all of this wasted money that has been going everywhere else, we can reinvest that right back here. And so what does that look like? Now we develop the river. Now, because and that doesn't involve displacing anybody. I looked up on Q Public. The city and the county already own all that land up going up the river up into Lee County. They own it. Let's develop it. And I understand, of course, you need to have some measure of trees along the bank to maintain the banks, but you can develop in all of that. Put some things along that river. Look at Columbus. Look at Hawkinsville. Look at other areas that have developed their riverfront and how much money it has brought in. You put in now local small businesses in there. You put a Good Life Vapor in there. You put not Good Life Vapor anymore. It's Good Life. You put whatever other small business, all the small businesses that do business with Easy Copy, put them in there. And so, boom, you reinvest right here locally. That's one example. There's so much else that could happen. Boom. How do you spur economic growth? In fact, that Story Road project that the city voted down. Listen, we have so much. The gym over there that they're stalling on the south side. All of these things are connected. You give and that's jumping down into the crime issue and other issues, but all of this stuff is connected. When you invest into the communities, this is going to spur economic growth. Now people are going to stay here. Now people are going to work here. Now people are going to do more here. So that's how I innovatively would approach economic growth. Because right now, if you bring in whatever other industry, that's going to be good. But how are you going to get them here when you haven't addressed the crime, when you haven't addressed the education, and you haven't addressed all these other things? So before we really get serious about this economic growth, as I'm thinking more about it, we need to go a little bit deeper into some other issues first. But before I leave this, when you asked another question that you says, what makes Albany attractive to other industries such as tech, so that existing residents have increased opportunities to make more money? So that question there, what makes Albany attractive to industries such as tech? Well, there we go. Now, this is a conversation I love to have, because it all comes down to PR, baby. It all comes down to image control. If you have a WALB and a WFXL or whatever other news outlet that is constantly barraging us with negative news and negative words about Albany, of course it won't look attractive. But when you get our local news, our local government, our schools, and our community in line, and we have a strong PR message that hits hard. Albany is great. Albany has Radium Springs. Albany has all of these wonderful things. Albany has strong student athletes. Albany has bow, 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 and you constantly hit that message of positivity. Now we look attractive whether we are or not, because that message screams so loud that now it's just going to become synonymous. Albany, excellence, fun things, whatever the heck message that we choose to champion, that's how that goes. But unfortunately, what we have is a barrage of negativity. People joking about serious issues. People thinking that, oh, well, I'm not going to vote anyway. There's no reason for me to get involved, blah, 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 blah. So things crumble. We have to change our messaging by and large. That's why I went so goddamn hard about this word, gentrification. Y'all want to laugh. I'm going to keep going hard till y'all get it through your heads. It's not no joke that we play with these words. Our words are powerful. And after years and years and years of negative words about Albany, it is hard to dig people's minds out of the murk and mud of mediocrity. We have to do better. We have to get serious about the way we're speaking. And yes, I'm getting a little bit more upset and passionate because niggas think this is a joke. Y'all gonna be displaced and I'm gonna be laughing because I got mine. I got my business. I'm good. We can grow. I can grow my junk. We got to make sure everybody else is good. Just because you're good, whoever, doesn't mean everybody else is good. So we can't make elitist statements like, oh, yeah, gentrification is good for some people. It's not good for the most of us here. So don't play games. It's not a joke. What you say, G.O.N.? we also have groups of thousands that spread these negative messages every day. And we know, of course, Will Gear is one of them. I call names. Will Gear is one of our parasites in that regard. Now, Will Gear is a property owner here. Will Gear is a developer here in different areas. Will Gear does different things. There's that. Unfortunately, also too, Will Gear comes with a lot of negativity. That has to be held to account. And y'all know I've held this fool to account on that many a time. I hold many people to account. Everybody's just upset when it's them. Get over it. Anyway, let's get back to the solutions, y'all. What makes Albany attractive? Strong PR, strong propaganda, strong positive PR that says Albany has greater than. Once you infect the minds of the people with a strong positive message, it is even harder to get out. I have a strong pride about me, and y'all know it. Y'all can see it. Y'all can hear it in my voice. I got a strong pride about me. I know who I am. So I can speak endlessly positively about myself. I can speak endlessly positively about my home, Albany. Well, not endlessly. I'm working on making it endless. There's some. I get to a point and I gotta pull for some more. But I'm practicing that. That's the point. We need to practice as a people speaking more positively about our home. Let's move on down to the next topic. The topic of healthcare. Mr. Vonte asks, how do you attract and retain quality physicians and other healthcare professionals to the area? All right. Well, I'll read the whole thing. Available property around the hospital is attractive because it reduces commute times to and from the hospital, especially for transient professionals. If you're not able to attract and retain these providers, you run the risk of throttling the level of care that you can provide the community. Why is the land cheap and attractive to investors anyway? All right. There's a couple questions in there. We're going to break this sucker down. Thank you for tagging him. Yes, sir. So let's unpack this thing too. So your first question off top, how do you attract and retain quality physicians and other healthcare professionals to the area? Again, so let's push back again. There's some more psychology we need to unpack here. We already have everything we need. All right. That's the position that I move from and I speak from. We don't need outside anything. We don't need outside investment. We don't need outside doctors. We don't need outside whatever. We have skilled physicians here. We have skilled nurses here. We have some of the best nurses, but we export them. We have everything that we need right here. We don't need to attract outside whoever's. So I push back against that narrative and say to us, we just need to further develop our crop that we have here. Let's not worry about attracting whoever the heck else who doesn't have a heart for the community, doesn't know our people, doesn't know our history of pains and struggles that we've gone through as a community, the diseases and why we're impacted the way we are. Let's grow what we have here. Let's change our mind state from thinking that we always need some kind of outside influence. If we can decompose that and get to growing ourselves and thinking more highly of ourselves and what we have here, which is we have a lot here, then we can start to change things. So I'm going to answer from that area, from that perspective. We don't need to attract outside whoever's. We need to grow what we have here. Once we grow and invest in our people here, they can care better for the people here because they are us. That has a much stronger impact, just like community policing is more effective because the police are from the community. That's why we need community healthcare. So shout out to Dr. Rex Ajayi, who retired. Of course, he's from Nigeria, came here, but doggone, he stayed here, grew here. His son was from here, one of my best friends. Bring your behind back to Albany, Sean. So available property around the area. So the rest of that, like about developing the property, you can develop the property in a way that still doesn't displace people. And that's talking back about the gentrification bit. We don't need to displace people to attract outside people to further displace other people and provide further lack of care. Let's talk about our healthcare systems that we have here now. For those that work at Phoebe, like my aunt and others, They know about the failings of Phoebe. We know about some of the successes. But I made a post on Facebook asking a general question. I said, do you all think that Phoebe has had an overall positive or negative impact on the overall healthcare of Albany, Georgia, or the overall health of Albany, Georgia? And buddy, I encourage y'all to read through the comments. There is a stream of tragedy on that post. That's one post. Not and I don't even have that many followers. I think I got less than 3,000 people, friends on my page. So that by no means is a strong grasp of Greater Albany. And then the other areas around that come to Phoebe. Saying all this to say that we have to be honest about the quality and level of healthcare that we are getting from our current healthcare systems. I think it's okay to, let's back up. I'm gonna stop dancing around with my words. Let's just be clear and be honest. Phoebe has been parasitic in a lot of ways. Phoebe has been very dangerous and destructive in a lot of ways. Phoebe has increased a lot of problems that weren't there before. Phoebe does little things like having this little patch of land over there that they're building the garden on and doing this to say, oh, we're involved in the community. They do, little things and whatnot. But we have to be very honest about the quality of care that we're getting. If it's not quality care, why do we seek to try to preserve it here? Why not seek to upend what has been a very destructive and parasitic system and build a new and better system? The way I approach healthcare is that we get better quality food to our citizens. Our care is directly connected to our access to food, access to quality food. A lot of the diseases that we deal with here are preventable. A lot of the chronic diseases that we deal with, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney disease, the list goes on. All of these diseases strongly tied to our diet, what we are consuming. If we change what we are consuming and what we are feeding our people, i.e., build grocery stores that actually have quality foods, put them in every neighborhood. Again, I always say, I remember when the East Side had it all, buddy. The East Side, you didn't have to leave the East Side for nothing. You didn't have to cross the river, dog. We had movie theaters, we had the grocery stores, we had banks, we had this, we had that, we had it all, dog. So, but of course, we see the degradation. We see what the seeds of gentrification happening, and we need to push back against it. We need to be vocal about it, and clear and honest about what's happening. Back to this healthcare. For other diseases, other chronic diseases that are less tied to healthcare, now we need specialists. If we get rid of the need for doctors to treat different issues like all the ones that I listed, these chronic preventable diseases, because now our community is actually getting access to food, good, proper food. They have proper diets now. Now they don't have to go to the hospital as much. Now they're not in the ER as much. They're not spending as much money on healthcare. Now they have more disposable income to pay these high behind light bills, to pay maybe this increasing rent because they're being gentrified, doggone it. So that's how we approach healthcare. When you actually work to improve people's health as opposed to keeping them hooked on a healthcare system, that looks different. We have to work to actually improve the health of our people as opposed to improving our healthcare systems that seek to keep our people looped into the system. Y'all see what's happening there? We got to do better than that. We're smarter than that. I believe in us. And we can see these games being played, and we're not going to play them anymore. We're going to do something different and bigger and better because we are smarter than what's happening to us. Let's continue on. Why is the land cheap and attractive to investors anyway? I need to do some research on that one, Vonte. I don't know. Next subsection, he talks about Albany has a walkability score of 4 out of 100. This is egregiously low. I agree. And more advanced and burgeoning cities like what's that one? Chattahoochee Hills, Serenby Farms up in Coweta County, North Coweta County, right under South Fulton. That sucker's a sight to see. I encourage y'all to go see that. It was incorporated in 2017, brand new city. I talked about it on some other lives before. And man, they are doing some interesting things. Anyway, the walkability score is exponentially higher. Walkability in smart, efficient cities improves the quality of life of residents for obvious reasons. How do you address this problem and make it easier for tax-paying citizens to work, live, and play without necessarily needing to drive everywhere? I loved it. Vonte, listen, dog. You should just come in here. Let's have this discussion face to face, dog. These are the questions I like. This discussion that we've been doggone needing to have. All right. So I do research into this stuff. Mr. Corey Morgan, commissioner down there in Camilla, we have discussions about transportation as well, moving our people around, because what we know, everything it has been historically tied to racism in this country. And so the boxing in and controlling of the movement of our people has been a thing for institutions and systems that have been controlling us. The way we get up out of that is we take control of our transportation by being innovative. So light rail systems that could connect us. Now, real quick before I'm sorry, I'm jumping over here and I'm gonna jump back because I'm excited about this one. If we have a light rail system, imagine having a train that could take people straight from here, from Albany, down to Tyson Foods and back. Boom, we can take people to Sanderson Farms and back. Boom, light rail. You don't even have to use your gas. Park at the train station, do your shift, you're back. You can work them late hours. You ain't got to worry about driving late and sleeping and all of this stuff. It solves so many problems, dog. And that's just a quick couple examples of light rail, how we could develop that. There's already rail lines, old rail lines that exist that could be improved upon, saving money. Listen, dog, it's a no-brainer. We're going to talk more about that. I can't wait. But I studied this stuff, and I've been talking with a lot of people about it. In South Fulton, they're developing a light rail line. If y'all want more information about it and how it could happen and what it could look like in our community, please go visit South Fulton. Talk to Christopher Pike, who is up there, and I'm sure he's very well and engaged with the process. But man, shout out to that. So let's get to the walkability though, and the efficiency. Maybe and I might be speaking out of turn a little too early, but I've spoken with a certain county commissioner that is actually developing plans to develop a live, work, play community north of the Phoebe developments. I'm excited. And so this particular commissioner is very, very knowledgeable on what's happening in other places, and is working to bring that information, that technology and that advancement here. So how do you address the problem and make it easier for taxpaying citizens to work, live, and play? You got to have innovative leaders like the one that I'm speaking about. But of course, I don't want to put too much out too soon because stuff is really early. But you have to have innovative, strong, bold leadership that says, you know what, hey, I'm not afraid to embark on this. Let's see what happens. We're not going to keep doing the same thing because we know what happens with that. But at least if we try something different, there's a possibility of immense success. And so that's actively being worked on right now. Improving walkability. We know we have outdated, beat up sidewalks all over the south and east side that have been neglected for years. And we know why that is. It's because, again, back to the leadership issue. Our leaders don't invest that $319+ million that we get back into the communities. They take this money and they do whatever the heck else with it. So that's what that looks like. And of course, one thing that I love, in fact, I'm going to show y'all real quick. There is hold on, Google, stop playing with me. Underground trash vacuum system in, I think it's Sweden. Is it Sweden? Let me see. Yeah, NVAC. Let me share this screen with y'all, man. Hold on. This is the type of innovation that we can bring here. Let me make this a little bigger. So, yeah, let me see. So, NVAC, Underground Waste Disposal System. What it is and what it has is it connects the sewer lines that already exist. They have a vacuum suction system that's connected through the sewers, You put trash in, it goes underground to the system, it sucks it down, it sucks it out to a landfill that's miles outside of the city. Once it's there, it separates the trash and it recycles. It separates the plastic from the whatever, and it recycles it. It turns that recycled waste into energy for the city. Listen, dog. Listen. Innovative thinking, innovative ideas. I encourage y'all, please go look this up. NVAC in Sweden. It is something that we can do here. They're already doing the combined sewer separation project. Imagine if they went ahead and implemented this right along with it. Why not? They don't want to hear this stuff, but I'm gonna try and bring it to them. Oh, we can't do that because this. We can't do that because of blah blah blah. We got to start thinking differently about our problems and our solutions. We got a lot of trash in our streets that doesn't get swept, that gets neglected. This gets rid of the need for street sweepers. It might, in fact, that might actually ruin some jobs. It might ruin some jobs, but it will improve cleanliness in the city. It will improve efficiency. It's something that will be very good, I think so. Let's get back to the questions. So that's addressing the walkability. And then, of course, back to the light rail situation. If we have light rail that connects all of these areas, man, and we can move around a lot more easily, that increases commerce, that increases industry, that increases everything. And so it's a no-brainer. That's definitely something that our leaders need to be working on, focused on, and addressing. Let's talk about this. Next, crime is another issue. Yes, it is. So Vonte says, disproportionately high against the national average. Ours is I'm guessing he's saying. I'm gonna look that up. I don't know if ours is disproportionately high against the national average, but even if it is, our crime is made up of mostly crimes against property, not crimes against people. It's nonviolent crimes. But anyway, Vonte says, gentrification has proven time and again to decrease crime. How do you address the issue of crime in Albany? How do you implement bleeding edge tech to better respond and prevent crimes? How do you increase repercussions for offenders? This is a lot of questions. How do you address the problem of culture, more specifically the degeneracy and normalize low expectations that it begets? Vonte, that's a lot of questions, man. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 questions in one. Let's take them one at a time. So again, a little bit more psychology, decomposing or that's not the word I'm trying to use, decompose. I'm trying to use deconstruct. Let's deconstruct some ideologies and thought processes. So when we're talking about the psychology of crime here and what we're dealing with, crime here is always talked about like this wild thing. Oh, everybody's killing and raping and the city's on fire and death and brouhaha. It's not that. It's really not like that. Actually, our comparatively, our crime is lower. Proportionately, it's lower than Americus and Sylvester, well, probably not Sylvester, I don't know, but other areas around. Per capita, our crime is lower. And when you go and look on our city site where they report the crime or whatever, they do the monthly crime reports, it is consistent that it's about 60 to 70% of the crime that's committed here is crimes against property, i.e. Breaking and entering vehicles, robberies and different little things like that, or theft and whatnot. That's the crime that we have. And so, what you got? When okay, it's doing the tabs. When you have that as the base of the crime that you're experiencing, then it becomes, how do you address that? How do we address these crimes against property? Who's committing these crimes? And I've shown in several previous lives before. I've gone live, and shared the screen and showed the crime data where it breaks it all down. I encourage y'all to look at some other lives where I break the junk down. But these young people, the percentage of crimes that are being committed is the younger and younger population is growing in percentage. My words. How do we deal with these young people that are committing the crimes? These young people need things to do. How do we deal with crime without criminalizing people for poverty? Because that's ultimately what happens if you're going to say we're going to be tough on crime and the crimes are being committed by our young people and their crimes against property. Now you're just locking up people who actually are just in need, people who are in poverty. And like Mr. Travis Luke say, you can't lock up the problem. because shoot, once they get out, they still don't have. So they're gonna create more opportunities for crime. So let's meet the needs of the people. Let's meet the needs of these young people. They need access to food. They need access to healthcare. They need money. They need access to capital. So let's get these people what they need. So when it comes to the most of the young people, they need some kind of involvement with some activity, some sports, some travel abroad, some all these different programs and things that you could bring here to engage the youth and enrich them with different ideas besides I got to make a quick buck. All of those things are helpful, and that's how you decrease the crime. Because now, when you are turning the people who are committing the crimes into active, productive citizens by giving them engagement and things that they're lacking and meeting their needs, now you've lowered the crime rate here. Now the city looks more attractive because now we have less crime. There's the percentage is going to drop greatly. And now, and when you look at what other crime that we have, we're looking at family crime when it comes to crime against people. Most of that is family crime, domestic abuse stuff. What's happening in these homes? People are stressed because they don't have money. People are stressed because of all these different other reasons. But at the root of it, it's always poverty. It's always a lack of income that leads to and people get to busting up each other side the head. So we need to address the economic issue to address the crime. Give these people opportunities to actually learn financial literacy, learn about investing, learn about, like GON always is pushing, and you too, Vonte, pushing about learning how to trade and learn about crypto, learning about all these other different things and ways to create multiple streams of revenue, as opposed to staying stagnant and just saying, oh, we need to bring industry here. We need to bring industry here. I wish a new company would come down. I wish somebody would come here. No, there's so much opportunity that you have to create streams of revenue for yourself right here, right at home. GON has been consistently pounding that message. I don't put all your messages, and you know, GON, I don't put all your messages into the Albany Forward group. I gotta like stream them because he constantly is posting and has been adamant about this message. Learn how to trade, learn how to invest. I agree. Learn something else that can increase revenue for yourself, because we can't keep relying and waiting on some foreign savior to come here and do something for us. So thank you, GON, for being so consistent with that message and so strong with it, because it's definitely somewhere that we need to have. But and I encourage y'all, join the Albany Forward group, join GON's groups where he's posting this information. He puts tips and study guides and stuff in there so you can learn how to do it. But that's how you address crime. You address the root issues, which are chronic poverty and lack of access to things. Once you do that, now you've drastically reduced the crime rate here. There's not a whole lot else that I need to expound on that with. I hope we can see that the trend and that connection there. You asked another thing. You said, do you implement bleeding edge tech to better respond and prevent crimes? So let's deconstruct that. I went to it was Smart City Expo in 2019. And back in 2019, I'll say 75 to 80% of the new technology that they were unveiling at Smart City Expo was cameras. Oh, we can put cameras in streetlights. We can put cameras here. We can put cameras here. We can put cameras everywhere. And you can better surveil your city. Surveillance. That doesn't prevent crime. All that does is just allow you to respond to it better and figure out who to criminalize better, I hope. And sometimes even that is extremely flawed with this facial recognition crap, all this other technology, the gun detectors, the gunshot detectors. Who was I talking about? I think I was talking about Hayes. The police systems here that we have know that the gunshot detectors are inefficient. They don't really result in arrest. They don't result in many results. So technology is not the answer for preventing crime. It can't prevent crime. We only prevent crime by addressing the issues that cause the crime. And so bleeding edge tech, no, you don't do that. Do you increase repercussions for offenders? No, you don't. Well, okay. So I don't think that is necessary. I think our penal system is already penal enough. People get penalized all the time with our criminal justice system, and then they get butt raped when they get to jail, not by each other, but by the system. And so I don't think sending people to jail and increasing repercussions for offenders, making it harder for people to actually rehabilitate themselves, making it harder for families to see their loved ones and all of that. I don't think that that's the answer. I think that that actually creates more problems. That actually creates more criminals. It creates more disdain for the system and for our community as a whole. I think that is counterproductive, actually. I think that ultimately, yeah, it might be counterproductive. Now, when you got a serial killer or a serial rapist, maybe, hey, whatever. Are our penalties high enough? I don't even know what the penalties are for that. Is that death? Is that a death penalty for serial killers, serial rape? I don't know. I got to research more and see what our penal system is. I just think generally we need a lot of criminal justice reform and reform in that area. That's a whole nother talk, but I love to talk about preventing crime and actually addressing crime at its root. That's a much better talk. But we still need to have the talk about criminal justice reform, prison reform, and our Doherty County Jail. Man, when I got to talking with Hayes, and well, after I had the conversation with Hayes, I went live with Hayes and Sheriff-elect Hayes, and pay him respects. A lot of people reached out to me about issues that they'd had with the Doherty County jails, loved ones that have died in the Doherty County jail. We got a lot of work to do here, y'all. It's not okay. We gotta clean all that junk up. That's a little segue. Your last question in this section was, how do you address the problem of culture, more specifically the degeneracy and normalized low expectations that it begets? We're back to the PR. So how do you address the problem of culture, more specifically the degeneracy? Culture is fluid. Culture grows and changes and adapts as different communities mesh and mix and mingle. So culture is never stagnant. But so when you're addressing culture, you're talking about a lot of different things. You're talking about the way people eat, the way people move about, the way people engage with their local community, their local community leaders. All of that feeds into the culture of a people. And those aspects, specifically how people are civically engaged, are the parts of the culture that I feel are most overlooked. And so how do you address the problem of culture? You for me, again, you have a strong PR and propaganda machine that says, we are this, we are greater than, we are not crime ridden, we are not whatever, we're not suffering from a crime wave and whatever, all of the negative crap that's portrayed. We're having a reaction to disproportionate economic spending and disproportionate poor leadership from our elected officials. That's what we're experiencing. And when you frame it like that, in the true view that it needs to be in, as opposed to saying, oh, there's a problem with these people, these young people, and these gangs, and they're the problem. No, this community is having a violent reaction to being mistreated. We haven't had good care in a long time, and we can see it on the east side and the south side, where these parts of town used to be booming. These parts of town used to be where it was at, and now it's not. And so we see that we have been mistreated. We see that we have been not cared for, and our money has been stolen. We're having a violent reaction to that, and this is how it's manifesting. When you talk like that and you talk to the problem, the real problem, then the problem can start to change. But unfortunately, our news media is not equipped with that view, with that sense, because they have to feed a narrative that makes them money, that is profitable at your expense. I'm going to take the time to take clips out of this because I'm saying some good stuff, boy. I'm telling you what. Like, share, comment, y'all. This is a good long talk that has been needed to happen. I'm going to break it down again. I might have to do separate videos for each part because people hate long form content. People need little short bites of information, but I like this kind of crap. How do you address the problem of culture, more specifically the degeneracy? Once you pile drive these people with a new positive message about, hey, I am somebody, I'm worth investing in, and I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to invest back in my community because my community is worth investing in, like, then you change the whole dynamic. You change everything. People, like Martin Luther King said, people who aren't connected to their community, they unconsciously and sometimes consciously want to destroy it. But when they feel connected to it, they feel like they have ownership in their community. They want to invest in it. They want to grow it. They want to actually be a part and engaged. And so we have a group of people that have been characterized as criminals because that's how the news media and in our local systems and our police like to constantly characterize them. They're criminals, they're doing wrong, they're gangs, they're da 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 da, as opposed to these are young people who are lacking resources, who are lacking access, and we need to do better to address their needs. That there's the problem. There's the problem. You see that there's two different ways to talk about it, whereby you actually empower a group, or we can talk about it in a way that destroys a group. And so we have to change the way that we're talking about the problems and our solutions. That's how we fix that. Thank you so much for the crime talk. We're going to move on to the next point that he made. He says, how are tax-paying citizens rewarded in Albany? Right now, they're not. Right now, they're not. The rest of his point, he says, what initiatives are their monies going towards? Buddy, hey, all right now. Local government can create and maintain affordable housing amidst modernization. They sure can. It will. Vonte, you're right, aren't you? Oh, buddy, let's talk about it. However, the people it is intended to serve play a part in maintaining these communities. Again, how do you address the culture problem? Yes. So when you look at the overall culture of Albany, unfortunately, yes, we have a culture of vulturism, I say, and parasitism, parasiticism. We have this culture here. We have people that come here from elsewhere, like Chad Warrington, and they make off like a bandit. For whatever reason, we keep accepting it. We keep thinking that it's okay. We keep making jokes about it. We keep doing just the same old thing and expecting different results. Most of us are insane. So, how are taxpaying citizens rewarded? Like I said, they're not right now. What initiatives are their monies going towards? Right now, their monies are going towards the pockets of a few elected officials. Indirectly, let me be very clear about my statements before someone says I'm slandering or libeling. But of course, I didn't mention any names. But for those that feel hit, you hit. But it is going into the pockets of a few individuals that have been entrusted with our leadership. Well, with leadership for us, but they're leading us into very bad places. Local government can create and maintain affordable housing amidst modernization. Yes, they can, and departments in our local government have tried. Our Albany Housing Authority, of course, let's revisit the Story Road project as often as we need to because it is important. Over 100 parcels of land, 100 new homes ready to be developed, plans already laid, developers in place, money already allotted, ground breaking ready to happen. Chad Warrington, Jalen Johnson, Bob Langstaff, and Bo Duro voted no. They voted against going through with this housing development, which would have brought wonderful new housing to the South Side, would have brought all kind of new taxpayer base. They're paying property taxes now. They're no longer renting. Now they're paying property taxes. Like what? And again, there was no liability of any kind for the city, none whatsoever. Those four individuals have consistently voted against the interests of Albany and have led us to this place where we're looking around looking stupid, like what is happening to our city. And it's people like these. Shout out to Dip Gaines winning Ward 3 over BJ Fletcher. But what we have to do in 2025 is get Wards 2 and 5 flipped over to people and individuals that actually care about the community. All right. How do you address the culture problem? We got to get out and vote. We have to vote better representatives in these seats. Come to this candidate forum at 4 o'clock today. What time is it? In fact, do I need to be? Making my way. It's 3:00. We got an hour, y'all. In an hour, everybody needs to go to Albany High for this candidate forum. Get involved. Find out who actually has a plan of action to move us forward and who does not. Then you vote. Then you encourage everybody that you know to get out and vote, because it is, in fact, that important. I was, like I say all the time, I was of the mind that I'm not voting. F voting. It don't change nothing, no way. I spoke that vehemently years ago. Excuse me. What I realize now, and have realized, recently, since I ran, is that the national scene, the national election, for me is a joke. I've abstained from the last two, but locally, the local elections are where it's at. You have to get involved locally, because these local officials are the ones that are taking your money. Put your money back in your pocket by casting that ballot. That $319 million is yours. I did one video and I asked a question. I said, what would you do with $319 million? And I loved, the conversation that we had on that one. Please go watch that video as well. It's worth a watch. Okay. We're down to the last. Oh, no. There's one more section, but then there's a question, but this is the last section. Vonte says, legacy systems must be patched and or replaced. Evolution must take place. Oftentimes, you have to destroy to rebuild. Gentrification on some level is expected if you expect the city to grow and thrive. If not, all of the talent will continue to leave and you will fail to retain any transient workers, as you will have little to incentivize them to stay. Okay, so that wasn't really a question. I guess then the question after that is one last question. Is gentrification inherently bad? So this is where we can wrap all this up. This is great. We started with a definition. I can end with a definition. Gentrification, of course, involves the displacing of people. And I can pull back up the definition, or I went away from it, but let me pull it back up so we can cap this whole thing off. Share this tab, please. Make it bigger, please. Gentrification is the process whereby the character of a poor urban area is changed by wealthier people moving in, improving housing, and attracting new businesses, but typically displacing current inhabitants in the process. So, yes, the answer is yes. Gentrification is inherently bad because it is displacing people. What you and many other people are seeking, because I'm pretty sure, besides Mr. Aaron Johnson, who said that I got to wait for him to specifically answer that question, but he made a statement that basically said he's in favor of displacing people. I want to believe that that's not the place that you're speaking from, Vonte, where you're saying that you actively want to actually violently upheave people from their homes and places that they've been for years and their families have been for years, so that wealthier people can move in and put up high rises and have coffee shops. I don't think that that's what you're saying, but if that is, let me know. And if that's what you're for, displacing people so that wealthier people can just take their place. So what I believe you mean is that revitalization and community-centered development needs to happen at some level. You say gentrification on some level is expected, but I think revitalization, reinvestment, and community development on some level should be expected if I expect the city to grow and thrive. We can take that $319 million budget and better allot that money. We can develop this river, bring commerce here, bring industry here, bring what's it when the people come? Tourism here. Kayak on that river. As soon as they finish this combined sewer separation, whatever, and the sewage ain't going into the river no more, and we can do that. Shout out to that. But doggone it, you ain't have to take out $20 million to do it. Anyway, that's how you do that. That's how you incentivize people. You reinvest right here in your people, because once you start approaching these problems from the perspective of we have everything that we need already to move forward, we don't need outside investment. We don't need outside people, specialists, whoever to come in to give us whatever. We have what we need. We have the resources. We have the connections and the network to make things happen without having to sell our city short and sell our people short and sell off our people or displace them. If we're not thinking innovatively about the solutions, and the solutions are always just, well, capitalism wins, and at the cost of people, you're not a leader. You're not an innovative leader. If your solutions, the solutions that you propose, come at the cost of the citizenry, you're not a leader. You're a capitalist and you're a vulture. That's not okay. That's not what we need in leadership. We don't need capitalist vultures that are willing to sell the city off just so that it looks pretty and people from wherever else can come here. Oh, boy, y'all, oh, Jesus on the cross. I think my blood pressure is doing better. I'm pretty sure it's doing better. I need to check my blood pressure again. But anyway, I think I answered all your questions, Vonte. We at the 50-minute mark. I think I did good. I kept it under an hour. I took my time with each, and I probably will revisit each of these again, do short little excerpts and break down each of them even more, because there's a lot of depth in all of them. There's a lot of depth in all your questions and in how we address the solutions. I hope this talk has been productive. I hope it has been helpful, enlightening, and game-changing for a lot of people. I hope that it has allowed you to open your minds to different ways of looking at our problems and the solutions. I hope that it is made you hungry to actually seek solutions and actually seek leadership that provides solutions, because that's what we need, and that's where the lack and the problems are sourced, are poor leadership and lack of. We do not have strong community-oriented, community-centered leaders at the helm. We have a few there, but there's not enough of them to get the votes passed that we need. Please go to Camilla. Please go sit in on one of Camilla's city council meetings, or just go view some of their past ones online. They have this 4-3 majority there where they're able to vote through whatever they need. And buddy, they getting it done. They are out here approving money for their local businesses. They've been approving money for homeowners. They've been decriminalizing marijuana. They've been money for events. If you want to be a event planner or have a huge event, the city of Camilla is willing to invest in you. The city of Albany does not quite have the same city system and structure in place that allows us to invest back into our local community event organizers here, but Camilla does. So if you are in Albany or surrounding area and you want to do a big event and get the city behind you quickly and efficiently without a lot of foolishness, Camilla's helping. Camilla is working in there, and they want you there. They want stuff for their people there. They want things, so they're inviting and eager and inviting people to come. Shout out to Commissioner Young and Commissioner Dip Gaines and Commissioner Howard, who I worked with. I worked with Commissioner Young for Summer Splash, and he made that a very good, seamless process. Shout out to relationships there. But when it comes to, shout out to also to the county being willing to donate money to the event. And so when you have the right people in place and you have the right relationships, you can get things done. I love y'all. Let's all continue to learn, y'all. Let's all continue to grow. Let's all continue to hold each other accountable. Let's all continue to lift each other up with love and respect. And know that with Adam, if you get disrespectful, I have no problem ending the whole issue. I'll make sure it comes to a swift end. So with that being said, I love you all again. 2 fingers. Oh, I can set an outro video. I'm going to set an outro video. Watch this, y'all. Okay, bye.
When you need more than a simple solution. When you need the best quality at the best prices. When you need a hero to save your business. You know there's only one name you can trust. Easy Copy. We make business marketing easy. Subscribe to the Easy Life at easycopy.io.